There go the Jam going underground. And I'm lucky enough to say I have got two famous footballers, or former famous footballers. They're still famous though. On the line with me, talking about communities and what it's like to be a fan or a player, a part of a group. I'd like to take the honour of welcoming Perry Groves and Darren Anderton. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hello, Dennis. Good afternoon.
How are you two? Are you well yourselves? Because now you're out of the game as players, you still got to keep fit, keep active, haven't you?
Yeah, well, I'm probably about 2 stone heavier. In my head, I'm like Shallow Howe. I think I'm still my playing weight, Dennis. But go up the gym, go on the treadmill, have a sauna, try and sweat the beers off. It's not easy when you get to 50.
Right, now, both of you, Darren and Perry, one time I would assume were rivals.
Of course.
Arsenal and Tottenham. Yeah,
very much so.
Very much so.
Off the pitch, you can, be quite pleasant, but when you get on the pitch, when you're playing a North London derby, then they're your deadliest rivals, and they're trying to take your livelihood away from you and trying to take the bragging rights from North London away from you. So,
yeah, that's
on the pitch. If I could have caught Darren, then I would have booted him everywhere. Shake hands afterwards. As long as you win.
Have a beer afterwards.
Exactly, yeah. As long as you shake hands when you win.
And that's the essence of community, isn't it? I mean, football fans, there's a heck of a lot of rivalry, but each club in its own place, sort of thrives on the spirit of the fans, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. It's all about the fans, isn't it? I think that loyalty that you get from them, and Green Flag have done this survey that shows that, and it is so interesting that how that comes about. That it's all about where you're born or where your parents take you to go and watch your first game, or who they tell you to support, brainwash you, and that's what it's all about. And that sticks with you, and that loyalty that never wavers. Whereas in anything else in life, restaurants, cars, supermarket, you change that willy-nilly. Whereas your football team, that never changes.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the stats, 61% of Brits feel part of their community, and 64% are proud of where they live. And almost 2/3 of under-25s want to be more involved in local communities. That did surprise me, that the youngsters, because I always get the impression that youngsters tend to want to do their own thing until they get a little bit more, let's say, mature and older. So do you think it's a good thing to encourage the youngsters into community things at an early age? Very
much so. I think you, as a youngster, you want to feel like you belong somewhere, and that you belong to something. I think that's what's happened, obviously, in communities. You feel you want to bond with your area, and I think football clubs have a massive part to play for that, because obviously they're a big part of the local community. Hopefully you get a few local players that are playing for your hometown football club. That gives you a bit more of an attachment to them. So I think it's a massive. There's not many. Football's like a religion. Like the football grounds now become like a church. There's not many other places. Even I come from Colchester, and at the Western Homes Community Stadium, they'll have 3,000-4,000 people going to watch Colchester every week in League One. There's no other place in Colchester gets that amount of people on a regular basis every couple of weeks, and they feel part of, obviously, Colchester United, which is part of the community. And I know that all the football clubs do a lot of work in the community to get the younger people involved in the local areas. So yeah, I'm not surprised by that, Rich. I think a lot of youngsters want somewhere they can have an emotional attachment to.
Yeah, I mean, this survey by the Co-op, they have looked at 16 to 24-year-olds, saying they want to become more involved. Do you think the type of thing that they want to be involved in, is, well, I say the type of thing, the opportunities where they can get involved need to be opened up by the older people, because sometimes things are a bit guarded, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, very much. It's quite nice to get a bond between, obviously, the younger people in the community and the older people. But obviously, CULP have done that survey. The Green Flag survey is obviously the loyalties that football fans have to their local football club, obviously, which is in the community. and the difference to their the loyalty they have in their other walks of life. As Darren said, whether it be choosing a restaurant or going to a supermarket or going onto a budget airline or buying a car. And football fans and the younger football fans don't have that loyalty to anything else apart from their football club.
Yeah.
So that's where they get that sense of belonging and that sense of community. And I think that can come through their local football club.
Darren, what do you think is under threat if we don't get involved?
Well, I think the youngsters today, they like to do their own thing, don't they? They're all on their phones and that sort of thing. But it's always guided from your elders, isn't it? And that's where this comes into play. This loyalty from your football club, which is usually to do with your area. And that's where that comes from. You know, I was guided by my parents to be, proud of Southampton Football Club, which means I'm now still proud of Southampton as an area. And that's what it's all about. And you want the community to be as one, and that's what it's all about, really. I think it's. I still look back, and even though I played for Portsmouth, the biggest rivals to Southampton, still very proud of Southampton and where I came from.
Yeah, I was just, funnily enough, I was going to ask both of you. Obviously, as you go through your careers, you move from club to club. Is it hard to become part of a different community when you are being transferred as players?
No, not really. I think that's part of it. When you go into another football club, your loyalty is then to that club because they've paid a transfer fee for you or they're paying your wages. So it's your duty to give 100% to the football club you're playing for. And it makes it easier if you ingratiate yourself into the local community and go and meet the local people and see what their culture's like and see what their psychology's like. And then they'll welcome you a lot easier into their sort of family. Where they think, actually, he's come with us and he wants to integrate with everything that we do around here, where if you don't isolate yourself, it makes it a lot more difficult to even perform to levels that you'd like to perform to.
Yeah. Now that you've both retired from playing the game professionally, which community do you think you belong to? Do you go back to your original roots?
Yeah, I do. I see myself as from Southampton, although... down to the fact that I got quite a bit of grief from the people of Southampton. They all really know where I'm from. They all know that I was a Southampton fan, and even though since then I've had a home in Bournemouth and things like that, it's still where my family is from. This weekend I'll go down to Southampton. I'll go to my family home, which I've lived in since I was 4 years old, and I still love that. And I think we all know where we're from, and we're all, proud of that.
Yeah, I mean, where you start off from, your original home, I suppose, is always there. Even if you move miles and miles away, you still think of the original community that you grew up with, don't you? Definitely,
I think when you're living in an area, depending on how long you live there for, you have a loyalty to that area, and then you move. So I grew up in Great Cornwall in Southern Suffolk, so my formative years were there, so I've got a loyalty to that area. Then I've played for Colchester, moved there, so I had a loyalty to that area. I was an East End boy, so I've got a loyalty to the East End. So you can be like a chameleon. You can change and your loyalty even to where you live. But the Green Flag survey, which comes down to football fans with their loyalty to their football club, that never ever changes. So I think you can belong to different communities in your whole life, but there's only one football club you ever belong to, and that's where your loyalty is a little bit different. That's where passion comes into it, isn't it? As regards supporting a football club, whether win, lose or draw, it's the passion and the sense of involvement, isn't it, that drives the fans on. Yeah, of course, and that's that a football fan believes that the football club is theirs. They when they talk about it, it's we, and if they go and they watch their team play. They don't play well, they're 4-0 down at half, they might leave 10 minutes before the end, swearing that they'll never go back and watch them again, but 2 weeks later, they're there. That's that loyalty and that belonging to a community and a football club that the game is all about. Right. Now, if anybody else wants to ask more, find out more information, how do they find out how to become a member of, especially of the co-op scheme?
I've got information.
Well, obviously the club have got their own website, but if you want to find out the difference in loyalties between football fans and how they feel to their football club and in life in general, you go on to greenflag.com.
All right, thank you. And both of you, it's great to hear you. But we've got about, 30 seconds or so left. Now that you've retired, are you totally retired from the game, both of you? Have you gone into different areas? What about you, Darren?
Just a little bit of media for me, and still play a few charity games and things like that. But in terms of coaching, not for me.
No. What about you, Perry?
I get paid now to waffle on about football for a living. It's a lot easier talking about it than actually playing it. So I'm lucky enough to still be involved. And again, I don't see it like a proper job. I didn't want to play football. I saw it as a hobby that I got paid for, and I see this as a hobby as well. So we've both been very, very fortunate.
Yeah, you've both had your success on the field, and I'm sure you're having success off the field. And it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you two guys. Do you ever still go back onto a football field against each other?
Charity games.
Yeah,
we're normally on the same side now, don't we?
Yeah. Unfortunately.
But it takes me. Darren's a lot younger than me. It takes me about a month to recover. The only things that don't ache are my earlobes. Everything else aches.
Gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for joining us here at Grantham Gravity FM. Bye-bye now.
Thank you very much.